Hey everybody, we're going to be doing a little bit of a revision of some of these videos going into couch co-op multiplayer. And as you can see here, we're working in 5.6 right now, so our third person map looks a little bit different than what you might see in a previous video. And this one's going to take place of that other video. What we want to do is just get started building our couch co-op multiplayer setup. So to do that, right now we just need to probably start with some organization. So let's go into our content drawer here. We're going to right click, make a new folder, and we're going to call this couch co-op. And this is going to be our folder that we put all of the basic needs that we have for managing multiple players, for setting up their UI and HUD and everything like that. We probably won't put our AI into here or some of our other features, but anything that handles several players on screen at one time is going to be inside this folder. So first thing we want to do is make a game mode base. What I did to get here is just right click, and then I went up to blueprint class and I picked game mode base from that menu there, and this is going to be GM for game mode and then CC for couch co-op. Okay, so then we're going to go into our space here. We'll go into our event graph for the game mode, and right off the event begin play, we're going to get one node. This is all we're really going to need, and it's going to be create local player. Okay, now what we're going to see here is a controller ID of -1. What that means for the engine is that anytime we add a new player in, it's just going to increment this up. So we add a new first player in, it's going to go to 0. That's going to be our first player. Then we're going to go to 1, 2, 3. So that'll cover 0, 1, 2, 3 will be 4 players. That's where we're going to eventually end up at. And this will spawn a player controller as soon as this pops in, as soon as the game mode comes in. So we're going to go ahead and compile that. I'm going to bring it up here right next to our view. And let's take a look at what we have. That should be enough for us to start into a little setup here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And we don't see anything right now. It may be this is the default spectator pawn. So let's go ahead and make some changes here so we're using the pieces that we need. So what we want to do is back in our game view, we're going to world settings over here. Right now we're using a game mode override. This is our BP third person game mode. We need to switch that over to the game mode we just made. The default pawn is what's in there right now. You might have something a little bit different. We want to make sure we put in our BP third person character. This might change a little bit later as we make our own characters, but you know, just kind of keep that in mind. Next thing we want to do is this player controller class here. We're not using a player controller like this. We're using the one we want to use the BP third person player controller. Okay, because that's the one we have. So let's go ahead and hit play and let's see what we got. Okay, now we got a split screen and I've got one character moving around. You can tell I'm controlling this character on the top window, and then what the idea is that I've got another controller. I've got a gamepad right now, but it's controlling the first character as well. So right now the keyboard is controlling only the first player. So there's a couple different things we can do here, and notice this error right here. We're going to fix this in just a little bit, but this is also going to pertain to why we're not getting our second player to work. Okay, so a couple things we're going to want to do. Let's go into our project settings. We're going to go up to File, Edit, and we're going to go to our project settings here. And then we're going to go to Maps and Modes. Local Multiplayer has a section right here towards the top. And what we want to do, one thing is we have a default game mode. Let's go ahead and switch that over to our couch co-op game mode. And then we have split screen right now checked. We'll leave that as is. And then we have skip assigning gamepad to player 1. So what this will do for us, at least while we're testing, later on obviously we want to move on to maybe everybody playing on a gamepad, but for now just having a gamepad and a keyboard, that'll make your life a lot easier, more simple as far as testing and everything like that. So let's go ahead and check that. And let's go back to our space here. Now, this isn't going to fix everything, but what it's going to do is it makes the gamepad not usable. So at least we've locked that off. Okay, so the keyboard is the only thing that controls our first player right now. Now, what's going on is that the player controller, let's go ahead and find that real quick. It's going to be in our third person folder right here. Our player controller It's right here in our third person folder under blueprints. Our player controller is the thing that's giving us all of our enhanced input that we're getting. So what happens here is off the event begin play, it sets this up to go through here, set up the enhanced local player for a mapping context, so we have all those buttons and everything working from our keyboard or our controller. And then down here we have some other things for touch input. This would be for like a tablet or something along those lines. And then this is a mouse look just for mobile devices, so you know, like I say, tablet or a phone, something like that. Okay, so the issue that we're having is really a timing issue. So the player controller gets spawned and it's trying to access a player, but the player hasn't been spawned yet, and we don't really see this because everything's happening so fast. So what we need to do is just delay this just a little bit so that our player is spawned in and the controller is ready to access it. So what we're going to do is just add in a delay right there. And a delay of about 0.2 seconds should be enough to make this work so that it can find the player and it'll already be in the level. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit play. Okay, there's our keyboard for our first player, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up my gamepad now, and I'm able to control the player on the bottom now as well. So all the pieces work, it jumps, it moves, everything's in good shape. I think I'm using an old Xbox 360 controller right now, so I think it's got a tiny bit of drift maybe on the stick, but it's actually not doing too bad. Okay, so as far as we're concerned, just getting things set up, that's the big thing we wanted to do first. The last thing we want to do is kind of dovetail into where we're going to be heading in our next video. Let's go into our project settings to see this, and what I'm going to do is turn off use split screen. And so what we're going to get now is just a view like this. So what we're doing is just controlling with the gamepad our second player, but the thing controlling our camera is our first player. So we're going to fix that in our next video. We're going to stop here on this one, and we're going to create the camera for our players here in the next one. So stay tuned for that one.